Hi, my name is Dr. Carol Cooper, and I'm a member of the Board of Trustees at the Christine Mann Library in Midtown Manhattan. One of my favorite parts of our world-class collection of materials relating to Jungian psychology is our journal collection. And I wanted to take some time to direct your attention to some of the many journals that we have both in individual issues and in bound copies. Today, I would like to introduce to you an essay that appeared in this particular edition of Spring Journal. It's basically an essay that explains why the Christine Mann Library is so special and so important. It was written by a fellow trustee by the name of Dr. Beth Darlington. In her introduction, Darlington states, "For many years, I have been interested in the history of the earliest Jungians in the United States. All were women living in New York City. The first was Dr. Beatrice Hinkle, who began to practice as a Jungian analyst there just before World War I, and the next three were Drs. Christine Mann, Dr. Eleanor Bertine, and Dr. Esther Harding, who launched their New York analytic careers in the early 1920s. Mann's life especially interests me, as I found out that, like me, before becoming a Jungian analyst, she had taught in the English department at Vassar College, where Eleanor Bertine had been her student. I became curious about that Vassar connection and discovered that several distinguished early Jungians were Vassar graduates. Now you can tell by the emphasis that she places on women who all studied at Vassar and who even after graduation stayed in touch and continued to collaborate both intellectually and socially, that Dr. Darlington is trying to make a connection, a temporal connection between her status as a modern 21st century teacher and analyst and these early 20th century women. Suffice it to say that by the time Christine Mann went to Zurich to study with Jung, she had already accrued some formidable credentials as a feminist, as a scholar, as a teacher, and as a worker for the public good. Therefore, by the time she actually met Jung in the 1920s, she may have even been able to consider him a peer. In the Christine Mann Library, not only do we have all of the collected works of Jung, but we also have volume 9I, in which a study in the process of individuation and at least 24 or 25 of the mandala drawings that Christine Mann drew from her dreams while she was working with Jung are included in this volume. People familiar with Jung know that individuation was one of Jung's grand theories of what the ultimate goal of analysis could and should be, which would be to make the individual human being so aware of how the psyche works and how conscious and unconscious elements combine to create behavior and to create personality, so that we could become individuated, which would be to say that instead of being a dualistic and separated consciousness between the unconscious influences and our conscious mind, that we would become whole, that we would become integrated as beings that had as much awareness and control of our unconscious impulses as we do our conscious impulses. By reading the essay that Jung wrote, you can see how in the process of her analysis, each of these images, these pictures, help to illustrate her psychological process as she becomes more and more self-aware and more in contact with her unconscious motivations. It's known that many of the female students that Jung had added greatly to the formal understanding of his theories and his analytical and therapeutic methods. Dr. Christine Mann was one of those inspired fellow travelers, and Darlington's essay helps to clarify and explain Mann's contributions to Jungian psychology.